What is up, everybody? This is Crash here. I've been receiving a lot of requests to do some behind-the-scenes videos of some of my maps. So I thought I'd go around and take a look at Wubwubwub and just explain to you guys how some of the logic works a bit on the map itself, how the randomizer system works, how the events work, all that sort of thing, like the process that I go through to create the map and make the events happen. I will let you know right now this will be a bit of an advanced video. I don't really plan on explaining in detail how everything works. Like, you kind of need to know how the input-output system works in Hammer probably to understand a lot of this, but I think it'll still be interesting for most of you guys. So here we go. First off, this is Wubwubwub. This is everything churned on on the map. It's pretty messy, and this is what it looks like if I don't have anything turned off. So we'll start off, we'll turn off tool brushes. I have all these viz groups over here, so we'll get rid of the no builds, the cabinet for the speaker, a whole bunch of the event stuff that I labeled specifically just so I could look at them by their own. And this is something that I learned while working on Trainsaw Laser. I didn't keep organized with that map, and I screwed up really bad, and it was really hard to work with when I had to update it recently because of that. So with this map, I kept that in mind, and I kept it updated, or I kept it organized while I was working on it. It's still messy, like it's not fun to look at, but it's a lot easier to now that I kept everything organized and I kept everything in these viz groups. So I highly recommend viz groups. As you can see, there's a lot of particles on this map. All these little points, that's all particles. And I got all those from Vision Metroid, and he did an awesome job with them, but we're not going to talk about those right now. We're going to talk about the logic behind the map. So right here, I actually tried to keep things organized in a way that would make sense to me. So what happens here is, with my sound system, I have a group of them here and here. It's labeled 4 odd and 3 odd. And what happens is, just before a sound file is played, I'm targeting it, doing an add output, and changing what sound file is played on these. And I did this so I didn't have to group up 4 of these every single time. I learned this from Trainsaw Laser because when you play a sound file with just one of these ambient generics, no matter how high you crank up the settings, it's never loud enough. So I stack up 4 of them, and then it gets loud enough. Or I stack up 3 of them depending on the sound clip that I need to play and the volume that I want to hit. So I change the sound file to what it's supposed to play, and then I play it immediately after with a slight delay. So I do that all over, and that way I don't have to have 4 of each clip, because these are all these here are all the songs and the build-ups and the voice clips and the rare songs and everything like that. That's all the audio for the map right here. On capture here, so once the first capture happens, it sends an output to this one, which plays the first track, which is the start build, I called it, and that triggers all the speakers lifting up, the big speaker, bass cannon lifting up and extending. That's what triggers all that. After that's done, triggers the next one, which is when it says the word fire. It goes fire, and then plays the bass cannon track, and it does all the effects there. And you'll notice here under delay, these are all very specific. And what I do is I listen to a track in Audacity, and I'll play the track through, and I'll listen for key points in the song where things need to change and where they need to transition, and I will just find the exact second that it needs to play, and I will trigger that event. And I got better at it as I went, so you'll see a lot more specific numbers. Like, this was obviously the first track that I did, was the bass cannon fire. It was the starting sequence of the map. So these are, pretty much like 52, 44, 43, and then as we go on further, this one triggers the into space sequence, the event, which tips the map up and goes through, and you'll see I got like 65.2, and like I got a lot more accurate as I went. So that one plays. A lot of people have asked me how the space sequence works. So let me go to the skybox, which is way up here. So it's hard to see, but this is actually a sky material here. It's a faded sky. It doesn't show up in Hammer right, but where this is black is actually the sky. So what that is a funk brush that is parented to a big door. And I've got a couple doors here, a funk door rotating and a funk door. And what this is a skybox rotation, which rotates this whole box here, and then all the props are parented to it, and everything else is parented to it. And then once, and And once that's fully rotated and the song hits at a certain time, it's like the song hits the point where it sounds like it's taking off, basically. I have this long brush here moving pretty fast, 500 speed door, that shoves the whole box that is now tipped 90 degrees, shoves it down away from where the actual map is. So it's not actually the map moving, it's the skybox moving around the map. Once that door fully extends, it kills this box, it kills all the props, and you're left with seeing nothingness. You're seeing like this is actually one of the event things. You're seeing the skybox. You're seeing the blue skybox, which is the space skybox texture. And then after that's all gone, you're just left with the event stuff. You've got the skeletons that move around. You've got this giant spirally thing that's all crazy brushwork that I had a lot of fun making that I thought turned out really cool. And I've just got these handful of doors here. Or sorry, these are momentary rotation buttons that I use to spin things, which I'll put a tutorial to how the spinning stuff works in the description below. Wubwubwub Snark, as always, the freaking god of entity work to me. He figured out how that works, and I use it extensively on Train Saw Laser and this map to make things rotate like this. These rotate based off of it. Like everything on the map that rotates is based off of that concept. So anyway, on to how the logic works. So once the first song finishes playing, or the first two songs finish playing, you're in space. That's when the randomizer system kicks in, and that's this whole series here is all the randomizer system. The bulk of which is just these few entities here, and this is what controls it, and then these are the events down here. So go to the first one. What it's doing is, I call it the build-up randomizer, and once that's triggered, it picks out a random, it's a logic case, it picks out a random event from here. So what it's doing is picking up 1 through 13 is all the exact same thing. It's triggering the build-up wub entity. But 1 in 14, it's going to pick up the Wubwubwub rare entity, which is how it picks the random song, the rare songs. There's 2 rare songs that happen. So we'll start with just the traditional Wubwubwub. So what's happening here is it's picking between the 1 and 16 of the build-ups. And it's stopping all sound, because I've noticed there's a bug with ambient generics, or at least with MP3s, that you need to stop them before you play them. So I just tied that in. Instead of trying to keep track of when everything ends and then ending it right there, perfect time, I just say, okay, obviously the thing's going to be done just before I want to play it, so we'll stop it, and then with a 0.01 delay, play it. And this has worked pretty well for me. And this chooses the build up, and that's the random build up before it does the voice line. The first entity, the build up randomizer, is picking the random build up, but it's also triggering the selection of the random hook, I call it, which is the voice line in between. So it picks the random song. Once that random song's done, it's always 17.6 seconds delay. And I did that. I actually moved the build-ups depending on how long they were. The longest one is 17.6 seconds long. And I just lined it up in Audacity, so each build-up ends at 17.6 seconds, even if there's a space of emptiness at the beginning of it. Or silence. Emptiness. So then, at 17.6 seconds, the hook is selected. And what this is doing is picking another random of either the short or the long. So there's a 2 out of 3 chance for it to be a short hook, or there's a 1 in 3 chance of it being a long hook. And the long hooks are 3.5 seconds, whereas the short hooks are 1.8 seconds. I just kind of did this so I would have a bit more variety in the length, and it wouldn't always be the same exact length, and I had to find clips that only fit in 1.8 seconds. And this let me do some fun stuff. So with the first one, the randomizer here, this is selecting out of short hook of 1 through 16 of the short hooks, and again, it's changing the clip, it's stopping the sound file, or stopping the ambient generic, and then playing the ambient generic with a slight delay. So it's same as everywhere else. It's picking it, stopping it, and then playing it. And if it's a long one, it's the same thing. 1 through 8. I don't have quite as many long ones here, but it's picking it, stopping it, playing it. And then once that is done, in the logic case above it, it's picking out 1.8 seconds later, 1.8 seconds later, or 3.5 seconds later, it's picking out targeting the Wubwubwub entity and pick random shuffle here. And this is the actual meat and potatoes triggering the entire system of the songs itself. And that's all these logic relays here. So it's a logic case that is picking between 1 and 16 of drop 2 through 17, because drop 1 is actually in the intro. That was a little poorly organized. I regretted doing that later, because I'd rather have it on case 16, drop 16, trigger. So anyway, that's picking the random song, and then each one of these is all the logic for the actual music map choreography itself. And as you can see, it was a lot of work. And the map wasn't so much hard to do as it was a lot of work and a lot of effort to do. It was just very time consuming. So you can see here, like we'll go to a random one. You'll see like right at the beginning, I have it triggering the speaker warp, the speaker push relay, which I have a relay set up here, right here. This is every time I trigger this, it starts the Brutal Legend taunt particles that are around it. It applies an impulse to lift you up. It activates the pushes to launch you away from the cannon. It starts the speaker warp. It stops the speaker warp particle and then starts it again with a slight delay. So it gives you kind of that initial burst. And then it disables itself too. It disables everything that it enabled unless it needs to stay on. And then all I have to do each time is target this relay here every time I want the base cannon to fire. And it keeps things way simpler. I don't have to worry about all the logic in each relay here. I just target that relay and say base cannon fire here, go. And what I'll do is I'll play the song in Audacity and I'll go, okay, listen, 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 you know, count it down every 4 measures or wherever it hits really hard, the song hits really hard, that's where I want the base cannon to fire. So I go through the whole relay, and it's usually my first step of creating the choreography for the song, is I'll go through each one, play it, go base cannon fire here, base cannon fire here, base cannon fire here, do, you know, 4 or 5 of them in the song, one at the start, and then, you know, however many it needs, and then that'll be the end of it. And then I go through, okay, I want the, let's say the stripes here. I want all the stripes to flash, and yes, it is supposed to be missing texture. There's the green ones underneath. I did both for the new version. The missing texture is definitely intended, but I want these to flash, and these are just simple funk brushes that are all over the map set to fast strobe. So all I have to do is enable them and then disable them when I don't want them on anymore. And it is actually really amazing how often that lines up with music, because there's a lot of things that are really fast that I'm not sitting there going enable, disable, enable, disable. I'm just hitting enable, and then when I'm done with it, hitting disable. So I've been really lucky that a lot of those things actually lined up well enough with the song to work. Some of these I have like the cows that get launched, or the engineers or the scouts for the songs, and those are just simply TF point weapon mimics, which I had a special FGD I downloaded that I can include in the description of this video as well, that gives me a little bit more control over it. I can set the damage of them, the speed, and the model. And specifically the model is where things get really fun. So it's basically shooting really slow rockets that look like sentry guns, which is why they do a little bit of damage. I could turn the damage off, but I thought it was kind of funny to keep it on, so I did. Same with the engineers and the cows and everything else. It's just shooting little rockets. And I think that's about it. So like where you see the timers, that's where I have a timer looping that is firing the baseballs or the scouts. Or actually, it was baseball bats I changed it to. It was baseballs originally, but they were too small. Or the sentries and the engineers for those 2 songs. And then out of the rare songs, when it actually picks way up here at the build-up randomizer, 1 in 14 chance for it to pick a rare song. This was really cool logic that I liked how it worked. What it's doing is, it like always, it's changing the song file, it's stopping it, and then it's playing it. But then at the same time, it's triggering a failsafe. And all this stuff only triggers once here. So it can never play this song again after it's played unless the round changes and it goes to a new round and it resets everything. So what it's doing is it's trying to trigger the failsafe. The failsafe's down here, but it's set to being disabled at first. So right away, it tries to play it, doesn't work, and then it enables it 1 second after that event is triggered. So now the next time it goes through, if it picks out of the random songs, it picks a rare one, and then that randomizer picks the rare drop, it will try to trigger the failsafe, and that will actually work. And it won't play the song because all these are set to only once, but it'll actually trigger this failsafe, which goes back up and picks again from the randomizer. So what ends up happening is it won't try to play that song again, and if it actually does select that song again, then it won't just dead end and it won't kill all the music off for, you know, however long. It'll actually go back up through the system and try to pick another random one. And all this is happening in, like, you know, less than a second time. It's all very fast, so nothing can end up getting screwed up in the map. There's a fail safe for if that song gets selected again. I didn't want those songs to get played more than once, which is why I did that. Same with both of them. And then that same logic relay is also triggering all the choreography. And this is for the Spooky Scary Skeleton song. So it sets up the spawners, enables them. It's got the pentagram particles. It's got, you know, the blackout around the map itself, and it's got the eyes and stuff like that. There's probably lots of joke stuff because I lose my mind and I put all sorts of weird names in here. Same with the Dayman step song. It's setting up the heavenly beams in the sky. It's enabling the stripes during certain times. And some of these are like, the delay for the stripes is enabled at 20.8 seconds, and then it's disabled at 21.65 seconds. So it's like these brief little flashes. I think that's about it. I think that's mostly what people were interested on the map. I hope any of that made sense because I kind of rambled there. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know if you want some more advanced concepts like this. If there's anything specific that I didn't explain well enough, just ask me in the comment section below. I will try to address it the best I can. This is basically just a video of me geeking out about the logic behind the map, so I hope it was enjoyable. Like I said, let me know. I will catch you in the next video.